The Ravine by Graham Salisbury. When Vinnie and three others dropped down into the ravine, they entered a jungle thick with tangled trees and rumors of what might have happened to the dead boy's body. The muddy trail was sleek and in places where it had fallen away, flat out dangerous. The cool breeze that swept the Hawaiian hillside pastures above died early in the descent. There were four of them: Vinny, his best friend, Joe Boy Moo, who was afraid of nothing, Joe Boy's howly girlfriend, Sterling, all 15. It was a Tuesday in July, 2 weeks and a day after the boy had drowned, if in fact that's what had happened to him. So, guys, ravine means deep and narrow valley made by running water, and haole is a Hawaiian, a white person or non native Hawaiian. Vinny slipped and dropped his towel in the mud. He picked it up and tried to brush it off, but instead smudged the mud spot around until the towel resembled something someone's dog had slapped on, he said. Joe Boy, hiking down just behind him, laughed. Hey, Vinny, just think. That kid walked while you walking. Shut up, Vinny said. He probably is tapping right where his foot was. Vinny moved to the edge of the trail, where the ravine fell through a twisted jungle of gnarly trees and underbrush to the stream far below. He could see Starlin and Moo farther ahead, their heads bobbing as they walked, both almost down to the pond where the boy had died. "Here, Joe boy," went on, "maybe you going be the one to find his body." "You don't cut it out, Joe boy. I going, what, cry?" Vinny scowled. Sometimes Joe boy was a big fat baboose. They slid down the trail, mud oozed between Vinny's toes. He grabbed at roots and branches to keep from falling. Moo and Starling were out of sight now, the trail ahead having cut back. Joe said, "You going jump in the water and go down and your hand going touch his face, stuck under the rocks." Ha ha ha. Vinny winced. He didn't want to be here. It was too soon, way too soon. 2 weeks and one day. He saw a footprint in the mud and stepped around it. The dead boy had jumped and had never come back up. Four search and rescue divers hunted for 2 days straight and never found him, not a trace. Give Vinny, gave Vinny the creeps. It didn't make sense. The pond wasn't that big. You wonder why it didn't seem to bother anyone else. Maybe it idiot, and they just didn't want to say. Bucci was the kid's name, only 14. 14, 2 weeks, and one day ago he was walking down this trail. Now nobody could find him. Jungle crashed in, reaching over the trail, and Winnie brushed leafy branches aside. The roar of the waterfall got louder, louder. Starlin said it was the goddess that took him, the one that lives in the stone down by the road. She did that everyone, and then Starlin said, took somebody when she got lonely, took him and kept him. Vinny had heard that legend before, but he would never believed in it. Now he didn't know what he believed. The body had to be stuck down there, but still four drivers and they couldn't find it. Vinny decided he would better believe in the legend. If he didn't, the goddess might get mad and send him bad luck, or maybe take him too. Stop, stop, stop. Don't think like that. Come on, Joe Boy said, "Ma- Mud going Vinny from behind. Hurry it up." Just then Starlin whooped, her voice bouncing around the walls of the ravine. "Let's go," Joe Boy said. They were all ready. Moments later, Vinny jumped up onto a large boulder at the edge of the pond. Starlin was swimming out in the brown water. It doesn't it wasn't murky brown, but clean and clear to a depth of maybe 3 or 4 feet because of the waterfall. You had to yell if you wanted to say something. The whole place smelled of mud and ginger and iron. Starlin swam across to the waterfall on the far side of the pond and ducked under it, then climbed out and edged along the rock wall behind it, moving slowly like a spider above sun sparkling stream water spilled over the lip of a 100-foot drop. Mo and Joe threw their towels onto the rocks and dove into the pond. Vinny watched, his muddy towel hooked around his neck. Reluctantly, he let it fall, then dove in after them. The cold mountain water tasted tangy. Was it because the boy's body was down there decomposing? He spit it out. He followed Jobo and Mo to the waterfall and ducked under it. They climbed up onto the rock ledge, just as Darlene had done, then spidered their way over to where you could climb to a small ledge about 15 feet up. They took their time because the hand and footholds were slimy with moss. Starlin jumped fast. Her shriek echoed off the rocky cliff, then died in the dense green jungle. Mo jumped, then Joeboy, then Vinny. The 15-foot edge was not the problem, it was the one above it and one you had to work up to. The big one, where you had to take a deadly zigzag trail that climbed up and away from the waterfall, then cut back and forth to a foot wide ledge, something more like 50 feet up. That was the problem. That was where the boy had jumped from. Joe Boy and Starlin swam out to the middle of the pond. Mo swam back under the waterfall and climbed once again to the 15-foot ledge. Vinny started to swim out toward Joe Boy, but stopped when he saw Sterling put her arms around him. She kissed him. They sank under for a long time, then came back up, still kissing. Vinny turned away and swam back over to the other side of the pond, where he would first gotten in. His mother would kill him if she ever heard about where he would come after the boy drowned, or was taken by the goddess, or whatever happened to him. She said never to come to this pond again, ever. It was off limits, permanently. But not his dad, he said. You fall off a horse, you get back on the ride, or else you going be scared of it all your life. His mother scoffed and waved him off. Don't listen to him, Vinny. Listen to me. Don't go there. That pond is haunted, which had made his dad laugh. But Vinny promised he would stay away. But then Sterling and Joey said, come with us. Anyway, you let your mommy run your life? Or what? And Vinny said, but what if I get caught? And Joe Boy said, so? Vinny masked his lips. He was so weak, couldn't even say no, but if he would said, I can't go, my mother won't like it, they would have laughed him right off the island. No, he had to go. No choice. So he would come along, and so far it was fine. He would even gone in the water. Everyone was happy. All he had to do now was wait it out and go home and hope his mother never heard about it. When he hooked up, Sterling was gone. He glanced around the pond until he spotted her staring up the zigzag trail to the 50-foot ledge. She was moving slowly, hanging onto the roots and branches on the upside of the cliff. Mo jumped from the lower ledge, yelling, "Banzo!" An explosion of coffee-colored water erupted when he hit. Jobo swam over to where Starlene had gotten out. He waved to Vinny, now grinning like a fool, then followed Starlene up the zigzag trail. Now Starlin was 25, 30 feet up. Vinny watched her for a while, then lost sight of her when she slipped behind a wall of jungle that blocked his view. A few minutes later, she popped back out, now almost at the top. When the trail When the trail ended where there was nothing but mud and a few plants to grab on to if you slipped, plants that would rip right out of the ground, plants that wouldn't stop you if you fell, nothing but your screams between you and the rocks below. Vinny's stomach tingled just watching her. He couldn't imagine what it must feel like to be up there, especially if you were afraid of heights like he was. She was no fear, Vinny thought, no fear at all. Please, 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 Sterling, I don't want to see you die. Sterling crept forward, making her way to the end of the trail where the small ledge was. Joe Boy popped out of the jungle behind her. He stopped, waiting for her to jump before going on. Vinny held his breath. Starlene, in her cut-off jeans and soaked t-shirt, stood perfectly still, her arms at her sides. Vinny suddenly felt like hanging her. Why, he couldn't tell. Starlene, please. She reached behind her and took a wide leaf from a plant, then eased down and scooped up a finger of mud. She made a brown cross on her forehead, then whipped her muddy fingers on her jeans. She waited. Was she thinking about the dead boy? She stuck the stem end of the leaf in her mouth, leafy, leaving the rest of it to hang out. When she jumped, the leaf could flap up and cover her nose and keep water from rushing into it, an old island trick. She jumped down, down, almost in slow motion. It seemed at first, then faster and faster. She fell feet fast, arms flapping to keep balance so she wouldn't land on her back or stomach, which would probably almost kill her just before she hit. She crossed her arms over her chest and vanished within a small explosion of rusty water. Vinny stood, not breathing at all, praying. 10 seconds, 20, 30. She came back up laughing. She shouldn't make fun that way, Vinny thought. It was dangerous, disrespectful. It was asking for it. Vinny looked up when he heard Joe Boy shout. Hey, Vinny, watch how a man does it. Look. Joe scooped up some mud and drew a stroke of lightning across his chest. When he jumped, he threw himself out, face and body parallel to the pond, his arms and knees and legs spread out. He's crazy, Vinny thought. Absolutely insane. At the last second, Joe Boy folded into a ball and hit Crumb. He came up whooping and yelling, "Oh, so good. Come on, Vinny, it's hot." Vinny faked a laugh. He wept, shouting, "Nah, the water's too cold." Now Mo was heading up the zigzag trail. Mo, who hardly ever said a word and would do anything anyone ever challenged him to do. Come on, Mo, not you too. Vinny knew then that he would have to jump or never leave it down. Mo jumped in the same way Joe Boy had, mad style, man style, splayed out in a suicide fall. He came up grinning. Starlin and Joe Boy turned toward Vinny. Vinny got up and hiked around the edge of the pond, walking in the muddy shallows, looking at a school of small brown backed fish near a ginger patch. Maybe they would forget about him. Starlin torpedoed over, swimming underwater. Her body glittered in the smaller amount of sunlight that penetrated the trees around the rim of the ravine. When she came up, she broke the surface smoothly, gracefully like a swan. Her blonde hair slicked back like river grass. She smiled a sweet smile. Joe Boy says, "They're afraid to jump." I didn't believe him. He's wrong, right? Vinny said quickly, "Of course he is wrong. I just don't want to, that's all. The water's cold." "No, it's nice." Vinny looked away. On the other side of the pond, Joe Boy and Moo were on the cliff behind the waterfall. Joe Boy says, "Your mom told you not to come here, is that true?" Vinny nodded. "Yeah, stupid, but she thinks it's haunted." "She is right." "What?" "That boy didn't die. Vinny, the stone goddess took him. He's in a good place right now. He's her prince." Vinny scowled. He couldn't tell if Starlene was teasing him or if she really believed that. He said, "Yeah, probably. Are you going to jump or is Joe right?" "Joe Boy's an idiot." "Sure, I'm going to jump." Starlin knelt, star- starting at Vinny a little too long. "He is an idiot, isn't he?" "But I love him." "Yeah, well, Go to it, big boy. I'll be watching. Starlin sank down and swam out into the pond. It's a big story. Anyway, but it's interesting. Vinny ripped a hank of white ginger from the ginger patch and smelled it and prayed he would still be alive after the sun went down. He took his time climbing the zigzag trail. When he got to the part where the jungle hid him from view, he stopped and smelled the ginger again, so sweet and alive it made Vinny wish for all he was worth that he was climbing out of the ravine right now, heading home. But of course, there was no way he could do that. Not before jumping. He tossed the ginger onto the muddy trail and continued on. He slipped once or twice, maybe three times. He didn't keep track. He was too numb now, too caught up in the insane thing he was about to do. He would never been this far up the trail before. Once he would tried to go all the way, but couldn't. It made him dizzy. When he stepped out and the jungle opened into a huge bowl where he could look down, way, way down, he could see their three heads in the water, heads with arms moving slowly to keep them afloat, and a few bright rays of sunlight pouring down onto them. And when he saw this, his stomach fluttered and rose, and something sour came up and he spit it out. It made him able to look down. He closed his eyes, his whole body trembled. The trail was no wider than the length of his foot, and it was wet and muddy from little ripples of water that bled from the side of the cliff. The next few steps were the hardest he would ever taken in his life. He tried not to look down, but he couldn't help it. His gaze was drawn there. The next few steps were the hardest he would ever taken in his life. He tried not to look down, but he couldn't help it. His gaze was drawn there. He struggled to push back in and argue to fly, just jump off and fly. He could almost see himself